That's okay, because we don't have a lot of administrative matters.
All right. Let me see what have we got here. Oh, there, what was the paper that I had here a minute ago? Okay, right here. Oh, this one.
No, that's mine, but you can use it.
So I sent you a reminder that the 26th is the joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen to, no.
Do we have a resume for this guy or anything, or are we just
He
going through
had
the
to
motions?
submit an application.
He just wants to know when the meeting's gonna be. I think it's gonna be next week.
It's Monday, September 26th. And I think there was one other person that was submitting papers.
Oh, yeah?
So, once, on Friday, Friday before the meeting, when Keith does his packets for the Board of Selectmen, I'll get whatever information on
Okay,
on anybody who's applied for that.
all right.
But,
Okay, the meeting is a little bit late, but anyway, 7 o'clock, Administrator Matter, Board Member Report, Minutes, Correspondence. Anything?
Nothing for me. That Board of Health meeting, that joint meeting, I know it's an email, but what time was it? Was it 7?
Yeah.
7:15.
7:15.
The meeting's at 7, but we're on the 7:15 agenda.
Oh, okay, is our time, right.
Okay, now we'll wait until 7:15 to hearing the 3 Lincoln Drive. Doucette Engineering. is
Oh,
right
we
here.
don't have minutes?
We don't have it?
No.
Okay, I didn't see them in the email, so.
Okay.
Okay.
What was the other thing?
There's Mr. Doucette right here. How are you, Mr. Doucette?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fine. How's everybody?
Good. You got 5 minutes to rest. Okay. We get anybody?
What was that bit about the Zika? That was just,
Oh, so we just get weekly reports
it
from the
was just a
state.
weekly report?
Yeah.
Got
It's
any
it's
other-
not
like we-
transmittable here. I think it's more
Yeah.
just people come into the state
Just-
and they're doing some surveillance just to be sure.
You're
But,
just- yeah.
I mean, it's,
Okay.
that species of Hades isn't here.
I didn't think so.
No.
but-
Yeah, no, it's just like a weekly report that just kind of gives the stats of,
I think it's part of a
How
federal
many-
grant, they gotta do it.
yeah. It's like a
Alright, so
four-page
you've got the money,
report of
use it.
nothing.
Any board member reports? No? Minutes? Anybody read the minutes?
No, there weren't any.
No minutes.
Okay, correspondence, any?
I have one letter from Roland that I have to say I'm a little bit put off by. So,
Okay.
And I just want to go on to record that, I think this was unnecessary. We weren't aware that this was exceeding our authority. We weren't told, we've asked. So this was a mistake, but I really don't like being chastised by Roland on this. We could have done the same thing on Halloran's, which I don't think he's zoned for what he's doing there. I know he's not zoned for what he's doing there. So in the future, I'd expect some professional courtesy. I really didn't appreciate this memo. So I'd like to go on the record saying
We're on
that.
record. Any objection?
No, I
Okay.
think it's, I would agree. I think the communications were at best inadequate, if not outright poor from them. It was to me, it was a blindside that this even came back to us. I was stunned, when suddenly it became an issue.
But, I mean, there are cases where we could have levied criticism on the zoning officer, and we haven't done it, because everybody feels like they're doing what they're doing is right, and I really
Right.
don't appreciate being called on this.
Yeah, and
Frankly, in Halloran's, I think there's a zoning issue, but we didn't do that. We followed a different path.
right.
The mistake I made, so the question is, we will try not to make any in the future, so we'll do the best we can.
But frankly, as I said, either last meeting or meeting before, if we're not allowed to use our heads and some common sense and some thinking about this, then what are we doing here for 90% of what we're doing, right?
And we tried to.
I did have a discussion with Jim, because I asked him, I said, Jim, did you know that, and I'm not blaming Jim, I said, Jim, did you know we didn't have the authority? He said, oh, yeah. I said, well, Jim, why didn't you tell us? He goes, well, I didn't want to be in the position of directing the board. I said, well, Jim, that's factual information. You know the regs better than we do. So in the future, again, I'm not blaming Jim for this at all, but in the future, instead of just a recommendation, which we take as a recommendation, if you know we don't have the authority to do something, please tell us. So Jim has agreed to do that. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not
Okay.
blaming Jim at all for any of
No,
this,
okay.
but that's part of the communication on this.
Okay. Should we give another couple minutes?
So we don't have minutes. That's the only correspondence.
Okay, so we
A
just,
couple
So we have
minutes.
some permits that can be signed.
oh, good. Then we give us a few
The top
seconds.
one, Gino just needs to sign. Everything else, everybody can sign.
You sign it, right? All right. Approval to pay. Ooh la la. If I get that kind of money, I can go to Vegas.
Does your wife have forms like this, Gina?
Oh, my God. Too bad we can't go to Vegas. Both of them have to be signed?
No, just the top one.
Pop quiz, Gina, what are you approving?
Oh,
An invoice.
$7,580.44.
But for what?
Isn't that something?
Mosquito control or something?
Nursery service, environmental service.
Oh, okay.
We could have done that for nothing, right?
I would say nothing.
All right.
Do you mind if we share your letter with Mr. Doucette, just in preparation? Has Mr. Doucette seen your letter? So,
Thank you. Wow. Lot of permits. In the back. Oh, wow,
Man,
that's it.
a lot of subjects.
Wow. Okay,
5 seconds.
Out of the way.
thank you. I'll give you a few more minutes, okay? 7:15, we'll, 3 Lincoln Drive, the hearing. Would you like to approach? 7:15.
Look, to move up too, this is
Engineering.
fairly informal, so, I mean, let him approve, but, I mean, you don't have to sit way in the back.
Where should we sit?
It's front row, is fine, or here, up here, there's only 2 chairs, so I don't know who you want to.
Let me first take care of the paper. So, good evening, Ted Doucette here, representing the owner, Donna Morris, for 3 Lincoln Drive.
Yes.
We did notify butters. Here is the record of notifying the butters. I also have copies of the local approval request. So this is the
Thank you.
upgrade approval request. And I also have the response to comments. These, I can hold on to these, because these are the ones that Jim sent out a week or so ago. And I responded to him, and then he further responded, which you should have now.
Yes, we do.
Which I was happy that he did that. Pleased, since I was not able to get this plan turned around. So, as you can understand, this is, a typical lot of this area. It's very small, 6,000 square feet, high groundwater table, which we detected at just 2 feet below the existing grade in the backyard. There's an existing cottage which has just deteriorated and is not worth renovating right now. And the owner has decided to build another house. It's an existing two-bedroom house, and the proposed house is going to be two bedrooms as well. So, as I said, it's a small lot, and we're trying to fit a fully compliant or maximum feasible compliance system on the property. And in order to do that, we have taken advantage of the existing nonconformity of the zoning setback by keeping the house at that front setback instead of the 30 feet that's required. Then we go to ZBA on Thursday for that. So there were several challenges, as we said. There is high groundwater, and so the system will be raised. We're keeping it a two-bedroom, and there is drainage to the back that comes from a few houses in the neighborhood and comes into this area here. So this has been quite a process for me. I had a plan submitted, as you saw, and then met with the abutters, and discussed their concerns. And they're concerned about the drainage in the back, and that doesn't get worse and start adversely affecting their property due to this construction. I met with Jim and told him about one of my ideas, and that was to rotate the bed closer to the foundation. And he said that can be done in certain cases. He said it's not one of the first things that he would do, so I tried to balance that need as well. And then the owner obviously has some needs that they want to maintain in order so that they can have a sellable property.
So, is there a reason why he advises not to do that, although it can be done? Did he give a reason why tilting the system? I mean, I know there's setbacks from a foundation in general, but did he give a rationalization for why it can't be done? Or why he wouldn't want it to be done?
He's seen cases where you do that, and then there's an odor in the basement, and people feel that there's a sewer odor in the basement, and people are concerned about it getting in the basement. His concern is it getting into the basement, because it is high groundwater.
Yep,
You know,
yep. Okay.
You know, the septic getting in there, so. Trying to balance everything out. So we have the gyms, as you can see, is balanced by keeping it at the required 20 feet away from the foundation. And then also trying to get the owner's request to keep as much playable space and livable yard back there. Now, this wall is not actually required for the septic system. We had designed that we felt adequately took the water away from the front. But since now the owner wants to level the whole backyard, and the wall will be required to do that, we figured we'd come in, because we don't want to be out there doing one thing, showing one plan, and then go ahead and putting up a wall, because you do have that regulation. Even though the wall is not required, it's shown on this plan, and the variance is requested. So that alleviates the owner. The other one, to alleviate or try to address the concerns of the neighbors, their concern is that the water coming off from this septic system will make the drainage in the rear of the property worse. Really not changing a lot.
Is that these folks here or those other neighbors?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Well, here and here.
I'm just visiting.
These-
My sister is one of the.
He's a long
Support.
distance abutter. So,
So the owner's not here, just the abutters are here?
correct.
Okay.
Right. So, in order to help alleviate their concerns, we're going to pitch the property to the back of the lot, and behind the wall, we're going to put a plastic catch basin there. It's about 30 inches wide. You put a grate on top. Everything's going to pitch to there. That will capture anything from running off here, and then it'll discharge it. And what the owner has agreed to do is to replace this catch basin that currently sits here with another catch basin of plastic variety. And then there's a discharge pipe that runs down behind his property. And he's also agreed to,
Let him finish. then
Yeah,
everybody
thank you,
get a chance to
yeah.
speak.
he's agreed to clean out that pipe to ensure that or to help with the flow. So my goal in doing this is to ensure that this property does not make the drainage any worse, and that's what I feel that this design will do. We can move on to the local upgrade approvals if you want to, or if you, I don't know which, Mr. Chairman, which way you want to go with this.
I just like, would you want a question?
Do I have questions?
No, do you have a question for the gentleman, which is an engineer?
So let's focus on the drainage for now, I think. That's what we-
The concern I have about drainage, I have a number of concerns. One, let me show you what my property looks like and looked like, so that you get a visual of this. I'm in a little dip in this area. This was my property when I bought the house, had the fence, this, everything on it, and there was no plantings, no nothing. As you can see, that's the area in question. It goes from here and it goes up. You want to look at it too?
No.
This is what it looks like now. Now, it's a panoramic shot, so it's a little more exaggerated, but basically, a nice job of plantings, huh, to keep everything off. This is, it dips down here, and it's about, I don't know, a foot or two higher up here, and it dips down.
Down to here is a low spot.
Yeah, and it dips here,
The
so.
house in question is going where?
The house in
point out,
question is this
That one,
little one right
okay.
here. No, that's their
That's-
house, right here, okay. So that's the issue.
Is this the
So-
shed in question, or is that a different shed?
That's my shed, yes, they're in
But
question.
is that the one that has to be removed, or?
Well,
That's-
no, it's the
well,
one that our
we'll-
surveyor determined to be over the property line.
Okay.
We'll
so-
deal with that in
But it is-
another
it's that
legal
particular-
It's
issue.
that.
That's the shed, yes.
And how long ago did you move in?
1996. And everything was,
Only 2 years, huh?
yeah. So, you can sort of see here how it dips, even dips down to this area, and that's the edge of my shed. Okay, I won't show you the other pictures right now. So my concern is, one, I don't have a problem with a wall. I think a wall is probably a really good idea. Keep it flat so that the water doesn't drain out. My concern is, he wants to go right to the property line and then do a swale. His swale is going to incorporate the drain here, which goes into the pipe that belongs to them. He gets the benefit of the drainage pipe and the swale, because the swale goes here and here. We flood, and his property stays relatively dry with a swale. What we're proposing, and I am not an engineer, I am a social worker, all right? But I've lived on this property for 22 years, and I've watched it season after season, and watched what's happened to it, and watched what's happened to my neighborhood. What we're proposing is move this all up, get a variance to move the house closer to the road. They certainly did it on my street, Washington, where the houses are really like 5 feet, 10 feet from the road. Move this whole thing up and leave, I don't know, an engineer has to determine this, maybe a 8-foot basin back here. There is mature growth trees here. One will be in question because it abuts, or it is this one, which I have a picture of somewhere.
Yeah, I think
is
we're
between-
just talking about drainage now, so.
But this
Yeah,
has to
that's-
do,
yeah,
but this has to
yeah.
do with drainage.
Water table, I think, yeah.
Okay? These mature trees, there's a stand of trees right on here, these are huge trees, right where my shed is, which is between both properties, and this other 2 little trees, which actually probably, I don't know how much they do, but those trees soak up a lot of water. He knocks all those trees down, now we have a bigger problem, because now the trees are gone, the drainage, he's got his wall, so he's got a buffer. There's now this channel, because he's also got his swale, right? So there's all this water that's going to be on both sides of that swale, and the only drainage is going to be through that little drain that's on, that he gets to keep, even though the pipe belongs to them. So my concern is that we're going to flood worse, and when it floods, I have a lake in that area of my backyard, and I have spent lots of money on plantings to try and dry that up somewhat, and it's been somewhat successful. I can at least mow the lawn there now, whereas in the past, up until July, I couldn't even mow it because it was so
Okay,
wet.
I got it. Can I have the engineer explain it to you? He's a very good engineer because we know him for a long time. Okay, what would you like to say about that?
Well, we discussed this out in the field, and, Ms. Bennett has some concerns about this drainage out there, and my goal that I mentioned when we were out at our site walk last week, was not to make the problem any worse, and that's
Right.
my goal.
Right.
And I believe that that's the plan that we came up with, is that the construction will not make the stormwater runoff any worse out there, and the work that the owner is willing to do will make it better. Is it gonna be something measurable? I don't know, because you get a long rainstorm, and
Right.
it's going to pond. You're not necessarily, that pipe may not have the capacity anyway, but after 2 hours or so after the storm, will it be drained? Most likely. Will it be drained faster? I don't know, but you can't deny, by replacing the catch basin that's filled and not working with a pipe that doesn't seem to be working, you have to hope that, you have to assume that it's going to get better. It's not going to be measurably better, but, hopefully you get the surface water out of there.
Right.
You can't get there's only so much you can do about the groundwater.
Is there any way you can add another pipe there in that area a little further this way? So you will not
My
use,
sister agreed that if.
excuse me, sir, excuse me. I'll give you the time.
There
yeah.
are things that you could do. If we wanted to pull the wall off of the property line here and move the catch basin over here, put another pipe, I know where we put another pipe, the only thing you would do is you would take one pipe and make it bigger to get it out of there.
That's what I'm saying. If you make it bigger, just try to accommodate the flow of the water. And another thing, I don't want to tell you what to do, but the question is, if they move, because they're going to throw this house down, am I correct? They're going to start from the beginning, am I
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So if they move a little bit, let's say 2 or 3 feet this way, will they accommodate, just yes or no? I don't want no sermon. You give me yes or no. If he puts the house a little further, about 3 or 4 feet, will it be okay?
It depends on the number of feet.
Well,
So I have a question about your proposal. How much would you have him move the feet?
I need a
forward?
civil engineer to look at
Roughly,
that.
roughly.
I don't want a swale back here that that prevents the water that normally pooled everywhere to pool on my property, because he's got a swale and a drain. That's my concern, is the swale.
right, if he makes the swell bigger and move the house.
Less, take the swale away. The swale doesn't help us.
I don't have a swale.
You put a swale in the plan that I have right here.
Right, and then the owner asked me to move the wall closer, and there's no room for me to put a
Okay.
swale in right now.
So then my
Yeah.
concern about this is going to increase the owner's value, because he wants the biggest backyard he can have, and that's to help him. But what it's going to do is decrease my value if I have a pool in my backyard. And that doesn't seem fair, that he gets
I agree.
that.
The question is, we have to accommodate the situation. Is there anything you can do to make everybody happy?
Everybody's not going to be 100% happy.
No.
But,
60%.
I mean, I would not roll the dice on moving that forward. I've talked to the chairman of the ZBA just to get a feel of what I was walking into on Thursday.
Right.
And it seems to be that this is fine, this happens all the time, but moving it forward, she can't guarantee. It's up to the board. So I wouldn't want to make any, promises on being able to move everything forward. The wall could move forward and keep everything where it is, and that's what I had proposed. The owner is, at this point, doesn't want to do that. Instead, he's controlling what's on his property and not making the situation worse.
But the question of the owner can agree or disagree. The question is, he has to be concerned about it too.
And that's what he's trying to do. He's gonna go in there and he's going to replace that drain and flush that pipe, and he would like to replace that pipe. He would like to. I'm not saying we can't, because we don't know what would happen with conservation back there.
Right.
And then, so now we're replacing the pipe, he agrees to replace the pipe, but we have to file with the conservation, who pays for that and things like that. So, does the whole system get held up because we're trying to get all that out, try to round out all those factors.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The adverse possession issue on the shed, it's not our issue.
I
We
understand
can't deal with
that.
that one. That's more of a
I'm
civil
not
matter.
asking you
So, well, it was in the letter, so I felt
No.
obliged to
Okay.
address that. I'm not even sure, frankly, the trees are within our purview on this one. But they've suggested a meeting. Jim actually asked to address some of the drainage things in his comments. Have you seen Jim's comments?
I did, I talked to him today. Yes, he was concerned that where this would outlet to. And, you know, it was outletting to either the surface or directly to here. And, you know, this still has to be worked out with the abutter. We were hoping that it would be able to be discussed, just with the timing of the plans and how you know, this is the third revision in 3 or 4 days that I've had to do. You know, we hoped that as a give and take, by replacing that catch basin and cleaning the pipe, that we could move the catch basin to their property. If that doesn't work, you know, maybe we can round out this corner and leave the catch basin there.
But let me, one thing, and
Can you-
still about the drainage. My sister does not want to look at a wall. She's lived in that house for 40-some years, and she does not want to look at a wall going down her property line.
And I also do not want water from that built-up 3-foot height draining in. My leach field is right on that corner. The whole front of that is my leach field. I don't need any more water draining into my leach field.
I could address that if you like. I mean,
Go ahead.
there's no more water draining into the leach field. The water is being in a controlled manner, and that it is being captured in a pipe and put into another pipe and taken away from the surface.
When there were people living in that house,
One at a time, please.
when there were people living in that house, it's been empty for 6 or 7 months now, but when there were people in that house and it would rain, their water would drain over through my leach field and out one corner of my leach field and down the whole front of my house.
By installing, like he says, another
That's when
pipe,
they
that would
live there.
alleviate that problem.
But I think
Go ahead.
well, surface water will not drain through a leach field. I understand it could travel across the surface, but surface water is not, if it's draining across the surface, it's not going through a leach field, not adversely affecting that. And if that's what was happening, this situation will be fixing that, because as required, this has to slope at 2%, so we're sloping the whole yard at 2% and into here. From here on, it's going to go forward and away, and rather than continue on the way it was before. So, as I said, this is designed to make the situation better.
The retaining wall, I mean, there's no way around that, right?
There is a way, but we can build the wall without the permission of the Board of Health, but we're coming in here to include it so that we don't look like we're selling one item and putting something else in there.
May I speak? What, may I?
Yes,
Call.
What I'm really looking for from this meeting is to not vote on this tonight, but allow because I'm hiring a civil engineer to go over these plans too, because we found out about it, I think it was the second I called you that day that I got the letter, met with you the
Right,
next
yeah,
day, so
yeah.
this was only a week ago. Since that time, I've hired an attorney to address issues that are not concerning this board, and I'm also in the process of hiring another civil engineer, Jeff Brum, who's going to go over these and look at how it's going to affect my property. So I'm just asking that you continue, I guess it's called continuing the open meeting and not voting on it
I
tonight.
appreciate it, but the question is, we are the board, we determine whether we do it or not. I'll give you an idea. According to our agent, okay, according to our agent says, the applicant has requested relief from your local regulation, Title 5, to allow replacement sewage disposal system to the installed on Lot 2 reduction to the groundwater offset of the leaching area, using a CF analysis instead of a PERX test, and placing fill with 10 feet of the lot line. The request is reasonable, given the site condition mentioned above. I don't see a problem approving the request with the following condition. The surface drainage is addressed and minimize the impact of any may in the abutter, and an acceptable retaining wall design is submitted. There are some minor design requests I have, and I will resolve them with the designer. Our agent, not you or I, will say we postpone or delete it for another day. We can't do that. We have to go by the law. We don't want no problem. It's up to the engineer here, okay, and the board to decide if we can continue this or not, or go by what the
It's up to the
agent,
board, yep.
okay? So you can't come here and tell us what to do, I'm sorry.
I think it was a request, Gino.
I wasn't telling you, I was asking.
Ted, can I, Mr. Chairman? All other things aside, and this is in the purview of the board, but you have a property line dispute with this shed, which I think will end up holding this project up if you don't resolve it anyway. Is there a huge problem with you guys going back, us postponing this meeting before the next meeting to seeing if you can resolve some of this, including the property line?
Whether you continue the meeting or not, we need to resolve it. We need to, I mean,
Right.
we don't want to be going out there and then building a wall, doing anything, and finding out that somebody else disagrees with our engineer, our surveyor. So, I was hoping to talk to you before we left, no matter what you do, to make sure that we do that. The thing is, I don't want it to be, something carried on, my engineer can't make it, whatever, we have to delay the process, and,
Right.
6 weeks from now, the surveyor still hasn't had a look at it. A continuation might be better, because you might be able to say, well, we want to see progress from their side
Right.
within 2 weeks.
Well, what I'd like to
Approving
see
it,
is
something like that.
progress from both sides and sitting down and see if you can work this out between now and the next meeting, which is 2 weeks. And I think if both sides are committed, we may be able to maybe not, but at least we'll see some effort, because very often what I see, and it's really an issue between neighbors, and if they
Right.
can work it out, we don't need the Board of Health involved. I will tell you, if the Board of Health says no, these local upgrade approvals go to DEP, and they have a much lower threshold than we do for approval, so.
Again, I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Chairman, may I
Go
ask a
ahead.
question? So, Ted, you said, when a question was asked about the wall, and it wasn't necessary, if I heard right.
Right.
So, did you mean it wasn't necessary that you came here to ask for it, or it's not necessary to include that in the design?
It's not a necessary part of the design.
Okay.
We can meet, meaning, okay.
Yeah,
We
that's
can
what I
meet-
want,
We can
right.
meet, breakout fill, and control stormwater without the wall.
Okay, it would be more of a slope in the land, is that?
Right, and this was the first design where I had I had thought about rotating the system
Yeah.
back toward the foundation. Jim didn't see it, but he didn't like it when I talked to him.
Yeah.
And it would have a swale coming around this way.
Okay.
The other way, we could pitch it back toward the house, which I never like to do. 'cause
No,
You just
right,
need to, we could have pitched it and put a little swale through here and gotten it away.
Okay, and is there a reason for not doing that?
Want to put up a swing set, you need a level land.
Yeah.
It's a two-bedroom, you're hoping to get, there are not a lot of affordable houses in Littleton, so, single-family house, you've got to,
So they're looking to get a design in that allows a level land as best they
some
can
some usable yard.
with a drain
Yeah.
that can sufficiently drain. Okay.
May I interrupt for a second? Is there any way you can get in touch with the owner and just let them know that the abutter are concerning about maybe if they can move that a little bit further this way?
I can also tell you that I had it moved further away, and he instructed me to move it closer. I only did that knowing that he's within his rights and that it's a satisfactory design and it controls stormwater,
But
so.
tell them, it works both ways. If he insists to deny, and then you have, everybody's against,
Yeah.
then he has a big problem. He has to, work with the neighbors too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
Well, I
don't
think
mean,
there's been some effort, Gino.
No.
Yeah,
I understand.
and well, here's what we could do too. You could, even if we do that, we put it in there without the wall, septic system, certificate of compliance. There's nothing saying you can't put up a wall all around your property,
No, we know.
and he goes and does that afterwards anyway.
Personally, I'm
So-
less concerned about the wall.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm less concerned about that than I am
Right.
concerns about drainage. And frankly, just
Right.
seeing if the neighbors can speak and work some of this out, especially where there's a dispute over the property line, it seems like you have some time to do that. If it weren't for that, frankly,
Right.
I'd be more
We gotta-
inclined to
we gotta
make a
work
decision
together.
tonight. We've also got Jim's statement saying he would like to see the surface drainage addressed, the surface drainage is addressed to minimize the impact it may have on the abutters.
right.
That was part of Jim's comment. So it
Right.
seems like we've got some room to do that as well.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I'm not concerned about the wall. I don't think it's within the Board of Health's purview. That's an aesthetic issue more than anything. And frankly, he's going to come back and he can do that on his own anyway without being any part of this. So I'd like to focus on the stuff that's clearly within our
see
purview.
what you can do.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion?
Yes, you may,
I'd like to make a motion that we continue this open meeting for 3 Lincoln Drive until the next available meeting of the Board of Health, whether it's the next Board of Health or meeting in 2 weeks or the second Tuesday in October, whatever is sufficient, at a time that's sufficient for them to get together and hammer out with the abutters, attorneys, and, well, hopefully not attorneys, but engineers at the very least.
So I have a question. So, but the goal is for the next meeting, assuming we have a slot in the agenda.
Hopefully we have slot, and they take care of, we don't want them coming back, right, but there's no change, because no one's
Well, I
mad.
think what I'd like to do is have it at the next meeting to put the onus on both parties to meet and
Yeah,
resolve this.
yeah.
Quickly, rather than drag it
We-
out.
If we
Well,
want to make
here's-
that specific, that's fine, yeah.
See what you can do with
Well,
that.
I'm not against that. I think that 2 weeks is a reasonable amount of time for Ms. Bennett's surveyor to call our surveyor and check on that and to see where the property line is. Sometimes the surveyors just talk
Right.
and go ahead and they say, okay, your numbers are good, you know, or sometimes, what about this number? And they can resolve it, and they agree on the number. Yeah, and so I think 2 weeks is enough time to come back to say, their engineer, their surveyor should be able to say, yes, it looks good, or no, I need more time to look at it because of this. I
Well, I
want
don't
something
think we're
in
going to get
detail.
involved in the land
Yeah.
property dispute. That's not ours. That's frankly, I think, going to be a civil matter.
We'll
and
see what
it's-
you can do.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the surveys are going to
Yeah,
resolve
yeah.
it when you bring up
That's
adverse
true.
possession, and that, but that's not our issue. I think that'll delay it, which is part of the reason I don't mind waiting 2 weeks.
So can we just get, for my record, I know we're going to talk again in email, but let's just talk about the priorities. So the priorities are to, obviously, to handle the stormwater, and what else do you want to resolve before the next meeting?
You need to speak about whatever you want, because the pipe is on your property, and you have the right to cut the pipe.
Which my husband has threatened to do. It's just to cut the pipe, period. And he did it just to be a good neighbor to begin with.
Let's work
because-
together, Lee, let's
Right.
work together. okay?
We'll settle that.
All right. All right, thank you.
So, I mean,
And if you work out the wall between you, and again, I'm just speaking for myself, that I don't think is in the Board of Health. If you can work it out, I have
well,
no
that's my
problem.
notes, yeah.
All right, I will second the motion.
So we're going to say September 27th, time to be determined,
Oh, no.
and so you'll just have to
It's my birthday.
check the agenda for the time.
I'll spend it here.
September 27th?
Can you,
I'm not sure what I have on the agenda so far, so I don't want to assign a time if I'm going to.
Yeah, that's fine.
I also work on Tuesday nights, and I had to change everything and
No,
lost
I-
pay because I
We
had
meet on
to.
Tuesdays, there's no way
No,
around
I
that.
understand that, but
Excuse me.
I'd like a time because I have to.
It will be
move.
sometime after
Huh?
7:15, sometime between 7:15
Excuse
and
me.
9 o'clock.
I don't think 27 is the right time, because I have a meeting with the governor of Massachusetts, please. We have to put another date, because I will not be able to be here, and then if you don't have Peter, you only have 2 individuals, and the meeting will not be held.
Well,
I'm just telling you what I have in the 27th of September, so we have to make
that's a
another
regularly
date.
scheduled meeting, so
We schedule the meeting, and have no meeting period that day.
you have to go to the second Tuesday of October because the rooms are booked.
We can, see if we can work together.
That wasn't the motion.
I don't know if, you know, like.
I don't know that you'll have.
I can only do what you guys have. I can only do what you guys, you know, and I'm just.
Do you know, I mean,
I'm just gonna
unfortunately,
hear it.
all of us can't make meetings sometimes, chair or
Well-
not chair, and if
No,
we
no,
can reach a
I-
quorum,
If there's a quorum, the 27th.
if there's not a quorum, it'll get moved on, but
That's what I'm saying, you're not gonna have a quorum, because Peter is in Italy.
when's Peter due back, do we know?
He's gonna be there 3 or 4 weeks, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, assuming we have a quorum, obviously it's going to get moved on if we don't have a quorum,
Right.
but I would like to shoot for the 27th.
Right.
Between now and then, Shelley will determine whether we have a quorum. You won't be there, I'll be there, John will be there.
Will there
if Peter's-
potentially be, the 26th, this probably won't happen, if we have a 26th Board of Health meeting
That'd be beautiful.
for the open
Yeah.
position,
I
if
don't
that
mind if
person's
it's 26.
applied,
As long as they get sworn in.
if they get
can
sworn
sit.
in
Yep.
time, they may be there for.
This is a lot to throw at a new board member.
I know.
Well,
I will email Peter tomorrow and see if he'll be here the
So
27th.
my suggestion is we shoot for the 2017.
Yeah.
If we don't make a quorum, that will obviously put it off.
You might have a point. If we don't do it on the 27th, we can do the 26th. I'll be available the 26th.
No, no,
Okay, so,
no. The Board of Selectmen meet on the 26th, and, I mean, these rooms are booked.
That's the
for
joint
weeks
meeting
in
too,
advance.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
it's
joint
it's
meeting.
not a Board of Health meeting, it's a joint meeting, Gino. We'd have to call another meeting, come up after that meeting. That would be a mess.
well,
Easy time.
sorry, I can't be that meeting.
But we all know that's why we have 5 members usually.
I know I'm not on your board. Could I just make a request? I think it may take a little time for, I mean, as soon as I found out this stuff out, I was on the phone with him. I hired an attorney. I spoke with Sherry Gould right away. She gave me my attorney's name. I have done everything as fast as I possibly can, and I am not going to dilly-dally with this, but I think doing mediation is something I do for a living, and I have a feeling that his client and we are going to need some time to work this out.
You know what, but that's not our concern.
Look at
We
that.
will try, if that happens in 2 weeks, that happens in 2 weeks. And just like if we don't have a quorum in 2 weeks, we don't have a quorum in 2 weeks. So I don't think we should plan for the worst-case scenario. I think we should plan, and we have to plan for continuation of the meeting to the next possible meeting.
Right.
And if it doesn't happen, then it gets pushed off.
We're asking you to try to resolve this by the next meeting. We'll meet on the next meeting, evaluate it, see what the progress has been, see if we can make a decision or not, so.
And if it's not working out, we don't have to come here and go through this. We can submit a letter and say, hey, can we please continue another 2 weeks? And we, both of us sign the letter or something like that, and
Right.
both of us
Thank
agree,
you.
something like that. That can happen.
Thank you.
How long before we can have a time for this? Because I work in the evenings, so I just need to move
Well,
people
first
around.
tomorrow, I have to just check with the other member to see if he's available the 27th, and then I'll check to see what's scheduled for the 27th already. So by the end of the day tomorrow.
That would be great. I would appreciate that. Can I get an email, or how do you?
Yeah, I'll just send you an email.
We get to the 26th.
Okay, good.
Did you vote on the motion?
Nope.
Nope.
Motion,
Motion made and seconded, Gino.
yeah. The motion being on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Hey,
see you in a
thank
couple
for
weeks.
coming.
All right.
I need a bathroom break.
Thank you, young lady. Thank you.
Good night.
We got 7:30, 7:45. 7:30?
That's one.
Just relax for a minute, we went to the men's
Yeah.
room.
That's my first.
Gino, an option may be, if you're not going to have a quorum the 27th, if there's a meeting room available, to meet at 7:30 on the 26th, if there's going to be 3 of you there for that.
What time, honey?
I don't know, I'm going to have
Yeah.
to look at times, but
Let
I'm
me tell you my
saying.
schedule, honey. 5 o'clock, I'm on my way to see the governor.
Right, she's saying the day before.
The day
Say the
before beautiful.
26th, the day
Yes.
that you have the joint meeting, then we can post
That'd be beautiful.
another meeting
Yes, we can do
for
that.
that, but
I'll leave it up to you, okay?
it's easier to just stick with the regular
Easier to
scheduled
stick.
meeting.
I have less conflicts on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Mondays are open, so I will be at that joint meeting, so I'd be more than happy if there was room availability, but again, I'll leave that to you.
Check all that tomorrow.
Sorry, Gino, no, just tough fucking.
No problem.
Never pass up a chance, right?
I'll just give him a chance to come. When the meeting, we're a little late. Okay. 32 Middlesex Drive, am I correct?
Right, yep.
Okay.
All right.
State your case.
Okay, good evening. My name is Steve Sears from David Ross Associates. This is Andy Calafatis. He owns the house at 32 Middlesex Drive,
Okay,
and that's down off Goldsmith Street. I'm sure you're familiar with Middlesex Drive.
I know.
Right now, presently, there's a septic tank and then a leach pit in the ground, which is in the groundwater table, and it did not pass, won't pass Title V.
So you have to raise up.
Yes, so we've designed a new system,
Okay.
a fill system, Presby system, infill, and at the same time, you can see how small the footprint of the house is, so Andy wants to just add on a back portion of the house. Now, it's 2 bedrooms, it's gonna stay 2 bedrooms.
Okay.
Jim has no problem with that. We're not increasing the flow, so we're just trying to fix the system. We went to the conservation hearing last night. They're basically okay with it. However, they just adopted some new bylaws the same time this plan went out.
Okay.
So I have to send them a waiver, a request for a waiver
Okay.
to their bylaws, and they said that would be no problem.
Okay.
Then they'll close their hearing and approve it for conservation.
And then you let us know, right?
Yeah, in fact, I have to talk to Amy Green, and she said if you folks make us change something, they have to know that too. But if the plan gets accepted, then they have no concern, and
Any questions from the board?
Now, Jim did note that he'd like a poly barrier between the cellar and the leaching area, which,
oh, he did.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't, that's fine, I talked to Jim this morning, and he didn't mention that, but,
The proposed system will be a vast improvement, this is Jim's,
Okay.
over the existing system in the areas served by town water. So for this reason, I don't have a problem with the request of the following condition: a poly barrier be placed between the cellar wall and the leaching area, where the offset between the two is less than 20 feet. That seems relatively easy to do.
okay, I might point out that it's slab, it's not.
There's no basement?
Crawl space, yeah.
Okay.
There's-
Well, the existing's crawl space, but
You're putting in a
we're
basement.
hoping to put a basement.
Oh, okay.
as long as
That
the water
one-
conditions
I
allow
was looking
it.
for a poly barrier, which
Yeah.
is cheap and in your
That's
best
fine, yeah,
interest.
no,
anyway.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he actually asked, in his original memo to me back on the 26th of August, he stated that Presby recommends that the dose 6 times a day. Well, two-bedroom house, to dose it 6 times a day, it's like dosing an inch at a time. So my engineer said, you're gonna burn the pump out in a matter of weeks. It's not gonna work that way. You can't just pump an inch and then have it shut off and pump an inch. So I talked to Jim this morning, he says, okay, I'm just telling you what the manual recommends that. And I said, well, it's not gonna work. So he said, well, that's probably why we don't do it that way. So that's his only other comment to me. I didn't know about the barrier, but
Yeah, here's
that's
a copy
fine.
of his comments if you want them.
That's fine. Oh, he's got more.
Have that?
So what's the request then? What's the variance request?
I can recite those to you.
Because I didn't,
Okay, so the variances are, they're actually local upgrade approval.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah, there's actually no town variances, we're just local upgrade approval.
okay.
I'll read them to you. A 1B, the reduction of the system location setback from cellar wall from 20 feet to 10 feet.
Okay,
Then
that's the
we
big
could do the
one.
barrier, that'll take care of that. 1E, reduction of the system location setback from bordering vegetated wetlands from 50 feet to 40 feet.
Okay.
They were fine with that last night, again. And 1H, a sieve analysis was performed in the perk test because it was, when we did the perk in June, it was, we had high water coming in, so.
Yeah, so, okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah. And we're not near a property line, so we don't have any offset situation with fill or retaining wall, and it's town water, so we don't have a well problem.
That's it.
All right.
Thank
Do
you
you
for the
have a
motion.
list of those, John, or you want to make a
Yeah, I'll-
motion? I don't have it in front of me.
Let's see.
You can keep the plan, or you...
No, we need to, as part of the motion, we need to list the variances. That's what he wants to look at.
Okay.
I see it.
Yep, so I'd like to make a motion that, I got it, that the plans submitted dated on July 28th, 2016 for 32 Middlesex Drive, that we consider and approve the local upgrade variances 15405-1B, reduction of a system location setback from a cellar wall from 20 to 10 feet. 1E, reduction of the system location setback from bordering vegetated wetlands from 40 to 50. And then 1H, that a sieve analysis be performed instead of a perk test because of the high water table. That further, that we'd approve these contingent on following a recommendation from our health authority of including the poly vapor barrier between the cellar wall and the system itself.
I think you said from 40 to 50.
He meant to say
Actually,
50 to 40.
Okay, thank you. You read it?
I was gonna
50 to 40. Now
let him
set.
finish first.
Thank you.
I'll second with that notation.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Okay, thank you.
okay. And I was so
Bye.
proud, I thought I had it. year and a half into it, I thought it
It caught my ear because I just went through this with
I
the conservation last
I
night.
happened to see it, but that's okay. You have to let him finish.
Right?
They say you're all set.
Okay, thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Does administrator has one of those?
Yeah, you, Shelley, you have some of these, right?
I have set, yeah.
Yeah.
And the permit is here.
You got your
It's
check?
just a fee due to Littleton of $25.
It's all set if you want to pay and pick that up now,
All
I
right,
guess.
so you don't have to come back.
Check that I might have
You waste-
$25 with me.
You waste more money coming back.
Perhaps we can do this on the side, you know?
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. 21st Cedar Road.
I don't have the right change. Just
You are,
combine it,
Come by
pick it up.
tomorrow. If you want
Butters,
that,
okay.
for the butter.
you can just leave a check.
Here's the engineer, we got a problem. Everybody got high water on their table coming in there.
You got high water now? Nobody's got high water now.
No, but according to this, based on a reasonable seasonal high water table existing in each area, will be a failure.
I think eventually every septic system.
He doesn't have a problem. with it. How you doing, all right, big guy? Okay, we'll give you more room. Make sure you be able to see it.
Yep,
I figure you want people, right?
yep. No, we want everybody to hear and participate, so if you want to move up, please do.
Yeah, I need to cheat on this one. We can put it this way, though, so we can both see it.
Oh, I have another one, here.
Good evening, Jonathan Markey with Markey and Rubin. Here before you tonight with variances for 21 Cedar Road. This project started out as a potential upgrade from a two-bedroom dwelling to a three-bedroom dwelling. When we did the soil testing, we did soil testing in this area and on the side area, because if we were going to increase the amount of bedrooms, we'd need to be in full compliance with the code, and we'd need to show, you know, a primary and a reserve area. So we started the soil testing. We found out that a little bit of mixed bag of the soils on site, where in this location, we had a perk rate of 14 minutes an inch, and in this area, we had a perk rate of 37 minutes an inch. So that kind of threw away the whole upgrade from 2 to 3 bedrooms out the window. So now it's an existing two-bedroom dwelling, it's staying an existing two-bedroom dwelling. We're not increasing the flow. We are increasing the square footage, but we're not increasing the bedrooms or the flow. So it's been designed in accordance without asking for groundwater offsets, without asking for reductions in system size. So it meets the code to the maximum practical extent. With that being said, there are some design elements to this and some variances that go with a typical repair in the Lakes region. One is a proposed retaining wall, which is going to go around 3 sides of the system. You know, we had high groundwater. We have a large system because it's based on 37 minutes an inch. And we're not asking for a groundwater reduction. So the wall in certain locations along this side property line to the north is 1.8 feet. At the corner and on the eastern side.
Do you folks want to move up so you can see this? I mean, the abutters, I assume that's probably primary concern, right?
Okay.
He's got the brain.
So this is cedar,
Yep.
and this is the existing house. This is the septic system, and this kind of hatched-looking thing is the proposed wall.
Is the two abutters. Terry is this abutter here.
Okay?
Mary,
And Jim are.
At 23 here.
Okay.
The abutters there.
So the wall in this location, along this property line, will be 1.8 feet in the middle, extending to 3.8 feet at the corner. It will continue 3.8 feet along this property line and then taper down to the middle of the chamfered portion will be 2.2 feet, and it tapers into the ground from 2.2 to nothing at this area. The wall's required because we are not asking for an offset to groundwater. If we asked for that reduction in groundwater from 4 feet to 3 feet or 4 feet to 2 feet with, nitrogen reduction, we could, put the wall lower into the ground. But Title V says that you're supposed to design to the maximum extent practical. And they have a list of variances, and you're supposed to go in order through them.
So because there's an
And I never get
alternative,
to it. Yeah, I never get to it. So the variances that we are looking for is, we'll start with the local regulations. You have a Regulation 5A, which requires a minimum percolation rate of 30 minutes per inch
30.
for lots that are less than 30,000 square feet. We're asking for a variance to allow this repair to be designed based on 37 minutes an inch. Regulation 27, fill to lot line, which is typically what's required for these lake lots. For the Title V local upgrade approvals, we're looking for property line setback for the septic tank from 10 feet to 8 feet. We're looking for the cellar wall setback from, for the tank from 10 feet to 7 feet, and the cellar wall setback from the required 20 feet for the septic system down to 10 feet.
So you're gonna put a new septic system in Litchfield too?
Yes.
What's this septic system now? How big is it?
We drove into the tank, and the backhoe fell in the tank when we were doing soil testing, so,
Oh, no.
yeah, it didn't go so well.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
So the septic system is gonna be for 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom?
It's for 2.
2.
Yeah, we couldn't fit a 3 on the site.
In the Litchfield, you have enough room to,
Yes, yeah. It's a big leach field. It's gonna be 20 by 44.
No, it's big
So
enough,
it's,
yeah.
and if we were able to design just on the 15 minute an inch, it'd be half the size, but,
Because of the perk rate, yes.
yeah.
Right, right.
May I ask a question? Would that be all right?
You may.
I was just wondering, for the benefit of the Littleton residents, it was 10 feet. Why,
Talking
Sometime,
about the fill setback.
yeah, sometime we do give variance, whether it's 10 feet or 7 feet. You understand what I'm saying?
yes, but why did they choose 10 feet and now
Well,
it's debatable? I'm just,
Because 10 feet is the regular distance between the neighbor and you.
I think the purpose is we try to set a goal to keep stuff back from the property line, but in some cases, you have an existing house and a system where they need to go within 10 feet, so they need to come before us and justify it.
so it was a ballpark figure? Oh, go ahead.
No.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. But in this case, isn't it being reduced to 2 feet? No.
No.
That's where
8
the
feet.
wall is.
This,
So where's the
the
fill?
tank is,
Where's
I
the
don't
extent
mean
of
to
the
jump
fill?
in here, but the tank is sitting, this is usually 10 feet, right?
He's talking about
Talking about the
from
fill,
here to here.
the leach field.
And he is right, it's about 2 feet from the wall
So 10 feet
to
to
the...
2 feet is
yeah.
pretty drastic.
Yes.
And it's pretty close to our property line,
Yep.
as well as the one
So as I
behind.
said, these are, they're local variants. Title
Yeah.
V doesn't require this at all. We set it as a goal for folks.
They don't.
But in some cases, no, this isn't Title V, this is a local requirement, not a state requirement. So in Littleton, we basically said, we'd like you, where possible, to keep back 10 feet, so it's not an impact on the neighbors. But we have to recognize that in some situations, and if this are new construction, we frown on this much more strongly than would an existing building. But where they need to have a compliant septic system on that building, we entertain variances to go closer. And in this case, he's making the argument here that they need to go closer in order to meet Title V and put in a compliant
With that
system.
particular system.
Yeah.
Are there alternatives?
No alternative.
There's
There are
no...
alternative types of systems?
There are alternatives, but none of which would eliminate the wall.
I don't think we have the problem with the wall, because that's a retaining wall, right? And so there won't be any seep, right? Is that correct?
There won't be any seepage through the wall because it's backed with a 40 mil poly barrier.
So you're protected there, but, So what was it, a cosmetic thing then, when you said 10 feet, or?
Yeah, I mean, just like other elements of zoning law, say you can't build a shed or something within 10 feet, it's basically so you don't feel like your neighbor's congesting on top of you, I think is the
Oh, okay.
intent.
Well, we have a fence.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
So,
actually
it was more desirable to buy or sell with a lower, so basically, we're losing the 10 feet because it's going to look better and sell better if it was flatter. You can do it,
Yeah, so, yeah,
You can.
again, I think
just say.
this,
I mean,
these,
can't.
some of these regulations were probably put in as, this sounds reasonable, but there's no real science behind it, per se,
Right.
right? It says, this sounds reasonable. And again, as Brad said, new construction, for a variety of reasons, you're like, no, you're not gonna get away with that. Do it.
You don't have to.
Because you don't have to, the lots are bigger, et cetera. In the lake region, as we all know, that lake area, the lots are small, the water table's high, and when these systems fail, they have to get replaced, and this is the only way to do it.
the
It is.
alternative would be you can't use this house, and,
Right.
which nobody wants.
Right, so if you're on 1/8 of an acre, and then you have this adjustment, it's not going to be any kind of adverse effects?
Not as far as seepage or anything like that, it's more of an aesthetic thing, I believe, was the intent of
So you're not going
this.
to walk out into a flood in your
No.
backyard?
No, that's part of what the retaining wall's there for, I think, to hold some of that back,
Right.
and to contain it,
But they don't fail, that's right. I mean, they're foolproof?
Never say never, but they're not.
Yeah, right.
That's true for yours as well, and mine, so.
You're not going that far. Okay.
Yeah, and how much on this side, how many feet is the side of, the height of the wall on that side?
So it starts at this corner right here.
Yeah,
It's 3.8 feet. At the middle of the wall, it goes down to 2.2 feet. It's probably 2 here, and it's 0 here.
And it disappears, it slopes right in.
yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Any other
And
questions?
it's
Yeah,
not
I'd
gonna
like
be,
to ask a
and I'll
question
see the
about-
wall, not the
Excuse me.
hill, sorry.
Go ahead.
About the trees, I see a bunch of them are to be removed, but there are 2 huge trees right here, 36-inch oak and maple. And it seems to me that for the excavation, it's going to cut through the roots of those trees. And maybe it's not this board's concern, but wouldn't that destabilize the trees? The next time the wind blows from the south, they're going to fall on my house. That's,
Is there any way it's going to damage the...
I may be totally wrong,
Those-
but,
Those trees should be removed.
Yeah.
They should be removed.
yeah, they should be.
So you make a recommendation then?
That's
Should have
where I'm
been
Got a point.
like
Something
that, yeah.
happened.
Not that we want to lose the shade, but
I know.
I mean,
but
every
yeah,
time the
no,
wind blows
you're
hard-
absolutely right. We would not be able to install that wall, install the sewer line, and the overdig for the system with that tree there. It wouldn't stay.
It'll be removed.
we had an experience with the house in this location, when it was built, they excavated for the septic system, and
And left
they
it
must have
clean.
done the same thing. And then we had a storm, and I came home one day, and there were 2 or 3 huge trees leaning over our property. They took them down, no damage, but I could see the same thing
So Jonathan,
happen.
your plan is to remove this
Yes.
tree?
Very good.
Okay? Okay.
Any other unanswered concerns?
So that wasn't noted on there. That's why
No,
I
I-
asked the
I-
question.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is,
should have
sometimes it
been,
isn't.
'cause
Typically, it's
that
not a
one-
concern, but it is a
Yeah,
valid one.
that one
Yeah,
is denoted,
yeah,
that those ones should
That's
have
not,
been
that
denoted.
doesn't bother me.
We've had neighbors complain about them removing trees too, so that's the flip side of this one.
Yeah.
Probably heard it all.
Well, I'm thinking of having like 10, 12 trees taken down.
Get together, get a cheap.
And he's gonna beg to sit in your, or this driveway to do it. And I'm thinking, geez, how convenient
Okay,
would that be?
I have a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion, since John's done all the heavy lifting so far tonight, on 21 Cedar Road, to approve the plans as proposed with several variances on the local variance side of it. Regulation 5A, percolation testing required a maximum percolation rate of 30 minutes per inch for lots smaller than 30,000 square feet. Variance is requested to allow the replacement system based on a percolation rate of 37 minutes per inch. No increase in design flow is proposed. Regulation 27, fill requirements, requires no portion of a fill requirement for sewage disposal system shall be within 10 feet of a property line. A variance is allowed to, is approved to allow the construction of a retaining wall within 2 feet of the property line. For system breakout grading, a butter notification is required. This variance is under section 23C. Title V variance request, 15.4051A, property line setback, a reduction from the required 10-foot property line offset to 8 feet for the septic tank. Septic tank is requested. 15.4051B, cellar wall setback, a reduction from the required 10-foot setback to 7 feet from the septic tank is requested for this design. 15.4051B, cellar wall setback, a reduction from the required 20 feet setback to 10 feet for the leaching field is requested for this design.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye?
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll see you next month.
yes. Have a good night.
Thank you for coming.
This time my daughter's.
Thank you. You'll be so patient. Thank you.
It's gonna fall.
No, I know.
It's gonna fall in 20 years.
I've been concerned about those streets, but do you need any plans?
I was gonna say,
No, I've got one.
if I can figure out how to pull them up again.
Google Maps.
It's amusing watching you, but.
So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The 20,
Did you, I'm sorry, sir, did you have something?
26.